Welcome to 4AZ. I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken, and we are rolling out the yellow carpet once again. Yes, we are, to welcome another amazing guest. She is a football coach, entrepreneur, proud mom, and an excellent teacher. I'm honored to introduce you to Miss Rae Black. Rae, how are
Oh,
you?
good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. I am so excited that you're here. We recently connected. And like I said, you have not only is your resume just stellar, but you are such an amazing role model in the East Valley. I can't wait to ask you so many questions. I can't wait for you to share your story. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, Ray, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I want to start chronologically. So you grew up in Los Angeles.
Yes.
How was your experience as a student in California?
So my dad's job moved a lot, and a lot of stuff. Kind of like I remember things, but not everything. I just remember that we moved a lot. You know what I mean? Like as a young kid, and I ended up like from Pomona, other family from Pasadena, Inglewood area, and we ended up moving. When I went to high school, I went to high school in Fresno. I went to Clovis High, and that is when I started remembering, like when my life started kind of like happening. Because Clovis High was an awesome school. It was predominantly a white school, but it was an awesome school. Good teachers, good coaches. They were like ranked one in the nation in baseball and ranked in football. Like it was just so much opportunity, and the strategy behind that I also have for myself with my own son is that you have to put your kids in the proper position to receive opportunity. And strategically, instead of moving to Fresno, we moved to Clovis, where Clovis High was this predominant school, good athletics, good academics, kids getting scholarships and stuff like that. And I have 6 brothers and a sister, and my brothers are football players. And so our
Oh
family,
my
we ran
goodness. You're
track,
one of eight.
football, yes.
I didn't know
Played
that. I
football,
didn't see that in the
basketball.
bio. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. What
Yeah.
what 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 was that like? I'm asking as an only child. That must have been
I was the last, so 2 girls. I was the baby girl. My sister is 16 years, I think, older than me. So she was growing up and leaving, and I was still really young. So I just had my brothers, and I was like real tomboyish, ran around,
yeah.
all into sports,
Yeah, you could take
you
them
know,
one-on-one if needed.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
and then
okay. I
really
love that.
tight with my brothers, like always very well cared for and looked after. And our family was known for sports in the city that we lived in and at Clovis High. Like my brothers were in the paper Fridays and running it back. And that's when I first grew the love for football, because it's as a young girl, like to be in the stands and like that's your brother, like all those touchdowns. Like those,
I know
two of
him.
my
I live with
brothers,
him
two of my brothers played.
too.
They went to high school at the same time.
Wow.
So and they were number 2 and number 3. And it was just really exciting. Everybody knew they were my brothers. So that's when I first learned that I liked to watch football, because I liked to watch my brothers play. And then little by little, as I was growing up, watching it on Sundays with them, like it was just a big football, scene every Sunday, like playoffs, all that, always with the game. So that's how I learned the game and learned to love the game.
That's beautiful. I often speak with my friends and colleagues who, like you and I, love sports. And I often reflect on, I don't know what my life would be without sports. The
Right.
amount of time I spend, I think you can relate to this,
Mhm.
coaching. In my case, it's basketball, right? Coaching the game, playing the game, watching it, thinking about it. There are so many valuable life lessons you gain from sports,
Yeah.
regardless of what your sport is. How do you bounce back from a loss? How do you work with others? It
Yeah.
sounds like you were a sports fanatic from
Mhm.
jump, especially in high school, watching
Yeah.
your brothers, and you knew the legacy that you had to continue when it was your
Mhm.
time.
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, before becoming a teacher, you were a flight attendant
I still am.
and still at you beat me to it.
Yes.
I love that, and still
Yes.
are. How did that come to be?
When I graduated college, I moved back to LA, and I was trying to get my life, like young person out of. So I had the degree, but I just wasn't sure. I majored in journalism, or majored in communications with the emphasis in journalism, and then I minored in English. So I had this big idea of, oh, I want to be a sports broadcaster. And so I moved back to Los Angeles. That's not really the place where if you're fresh out of college that you can break into that industry because it's hardcore. Like you have news anchors that's been in that position for several years, like,
That's
decades. And
yeah, it's
so
saturated.
I had the dream and I still have the dream. Like I still feel like one day maybe something might happen, like where I would get an opportunity, even like this. This is an opportunity still. And so, but I had to be realistic. And I was working at a real estate company and I was also doing like odd little jobs around like studios and stuff like that. And I was also doing music videos. You go to LA and you do little music videos and make a little money. And
You're
so I was
popping
doing
out.
like all
Yeah.
these things, all these
Yeah.
things.
I'm not
And
mad
my
at that.
dad one day, my dad was a private pilot, and he was like, we need to you need to have a career. Like he's having that, that parent talk, like, what are you doing? Like I was having fun and everything, but he's like, what are you doing? Like you have to have a career. Like you need to be able to take care of yourself. And at that point, I was living at my godmother's house. I couldn't take care of myself. Like if I were to move out, I would not make enough money to pay my own rent. And so my dad was right. And he was like, have you ever thought about being a flight attendant? And I was like, no, like I really didn't think about it. I had just never thought about that. And so we filled out the applications online. 3 airlines got back to me. SkyWest got back to me first, and I liked what SkyWest was about and what they were talking about. And so that's the airline that I chose to interview for. So you do several interviews. You do a large group interview, and then from there, they put you on the spot. You're in front of all these other women, and you have to sell it yourself. Why you want to be a flight attendant, and from there, they start narrowing it down. So you interview again, and then you interview again. And then from all those interviews, you still have to wait to be selected to go to training. So to go to flight attendant school, pretty much, which is with the individual company. So you wait. 3 weeks later, we would like to invite you to training in Salt Lake City, Utah. And that was it. And I held on to that job for dear life, like still.
Wow.
It's
Even all these years later,
yes, like
you really
19
love it.
years later, 19 and a half years later, before
What
my
is it
son was
about
born.
being a flight attendant that you love so much? Because you strike me, I know this is our first official time meeting. You strike me as a huge people person. So I would
I
imagine with being a flight attendant, of course, you're serving people just like
am.
you do with teaching, which we'll get into. But I would imagine just the diversity and the people you meet, and again that spirit of service. I would imagine that's what really speaks to you about the position.
It is. And because I'm such an empath, positive and negative comes with that. You have to find like the proper place to put yourself. You know what I mean? Where you feel appreciated more so. And so teaching, coaching, flight attendant, all those things satisfy my empath side where I feel like I'm not like appreciated, like I'm appreciated, not being taken advantage of, or you know what I mean? Because empaths at times you do feel like that because you just give, like give too much, even sometimes, like just too much. Where those are jobs where I feel safe. I feel comfortable. I feel confident. I feel safe. I feel like the love I give, I'm receiving it back, and that's why I've always stayed at that job all this time.
That's amazing. Wow. I want to stay on that subject in terms of all that makes up Rae Black. So, flight attending, and also you were involved in the beauty industry. I
Yeah.
want to hear about that and where this entrepreneurial spirit emanated from, because this was before like Shark Tank marathons, and when we all got onto the entrepreneurial, like, well, I want to create generational wealth, I want to open up my own business. You've been doing this, Rae. So tell us more about your beauty background and being an entrepreneur.
So once I had my son, he was going to turn 5. And I had been a flight attendant since before he was born, but I was worried that I was going to have to fly while he was going to school. And so I was like, I need to do something else. I was like, I need to do something else in college. Like, I went to HBCU and we would braid each other's hair. I was always into hair and glue that hair extension in, like back, you know what I mean? Like all that, all that stuff in the dorm room that we used to do. So I was always into hair. And I was like, I had a friend, my best friend that was in college with me. Her name was Bree. She knew that that was her path from the beginning. I didn't think that that was my path, but I had always supported and admired her for that being her path. And I was thinking and talking to my dad again, because I'm always talking to my dad. And I was like, I need to do something else, Dad. Like, I feel like I need to capitalize on, beauty. Like, everyone needs it every day. Everyone has to get their hair done, or men have to get their hair cut, or, you know what I mean? Like, everyone wants their skin to look better in trying to perfect themselves. And it's an industry that you always will make money. You will always make money. So I went to cosmetology school at Aveda. At this point, I was living in Denver, and I went to the Aveda Institute, Denver, had a blast, like the best time.
Really? In
Yes,
Denver,
the
Colorado?
best. Yes. And
No
the
kidding.
school, Aveda, is also a school. I wouldn't say at that point in time it had a lot of diversity, because it really didn't. It was growing in that area, like product, and the business was small and it was growing. So it was like in the process of growing. And I just kind of fit myself in there, with textured hair and wigs, extensions, like, introducing my friends at school to these things that Black women do, like the other type of hair that you can also do, that you can make money off doing. So I would teach my friends how to do textured hair. I would let them do my hair, and I would do their hair, and then we would color the hair. And then I started my own hair extension company, and I started that business based on the fact that I wanted to get into wig making. And I saw in Colorado, there was a lady that she had suffered from breast cancer, and her hair had fell out. And she would come in, and all I could really do was kind of like scalp massage. Like, it wasn't much to do. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't growing back really fast, but it was growing back. And I would talk to her, and I just was like, man, I wish I could just, she would show me pictures of how she used to look. And I would be like, I wish I could just make that, you know what I mean? Like, give that back to her. And with the extensions, like, I watched videos. I already knew how to sew because I had took sewing classes when I was younger. I watched videos. I bought the different pieces that you would need. I got online and was emailing factories over in different regions in China and Vietnam, like testing hair, and I would test it on myself. My friends would help test it too. Like, I would do their hair and they would test it for me and give me feedback until I found something that was good quality. And then going to Aveda, I knew how to color really well, because Aveda is about color. Like, a lot of it is coloring and the system that they use. And once I learned to color really well, I was coloring those hair extensions, and I could make it look exactly how they used to look before. I could like make the wig with the toupee piece at the top and sew all the other pieces and attach it all together, measure your head so that it would fit big, larger head or smaller head. And I would make them look like they could show me a picture and I highlighted up whatever, blonde, whatever that it was. And I could make it look very close to how they used to look. And that was like my give back. I was like, this is my niche. Like, it's not just do hair. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's do hair and give you this look, your natural look, your natural self, give that back to you. And that's like priceless for a woman, especially when you've gone through trauma like that in your life. Like, to lose your hair as a woman and maybe a part of your body as a woman, you feel your self-esteem is very low. And it was my way to build that self-esteem back and make connections.
Wow. While building a business. It
Yes,
sounds like it was such a process.
it
The
was.
emails you had to send and getting the extensions and, like you said, the measurements, because not everyone
Mhm.
has the same size head. Not everyone has as big of a head
Right.
as me, right?
Yes.
That's wow. Okay. I want to rewind. What was your HBCU experience like?
I went to Oakwood University. It's a Seventh-day Adventist school in Huntsville, Alabama. And I would say, let me see, high school was really fun. Aveda was fun, but I would have to say Oakwood was probably the most fun ever in life, like ever in life.
In
Till
life.
this day. Yeah, like
Tell us
the
about that.
friends I made, still my friends, like still talk frequently. Go to alumni, meet each other down at alumni every year. Like, you know what I mean? Don't skip a beat. Like, when we get together, don't skip a beat. Run the
Still.
streets. Just running the streets in Huntsville. like, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't
Right in the
skip a
streets
beat.
in
Yes,
Huntsville.
no, don't skip a beat. And
Oh,
so that also kept me grounded as a Christian, because my brothers, they got scholarships, they went to public schools, and everyone's journey and walk with religion is different. And I really feel like because I went to that school, it kept me grounded in Christianity. Like I had less temptation because we all went to church on Saturday. It was like the rule. Like you all had, you know what I mean? Like you all went to chapel.
Yeah, it was
You
expected.
all got dressed up and went to church, and everyone's doing the same thing. So there's no shame or it's no questioning. Like, why are you going on Saturday? Like that's a question a lot that I get, because Saturday is, to me, is the Sabbath. So why are you going on Saturday instead of on Sunday? Like there's none of that, because we all know why we're going on Saturday.
You were
Like,
on
you
the
know what I
same
mean?
wavelength.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all know
Yeah.
why
We're going to have fun during the
all
week,
go
but then on
Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah.
I'm going to
And
see you at
that's
service.
what helped keep me grounded in the fact that we would learn to try to mimic and be like Christ-like, like, you know what I mean? Like good deeds, basically. Like I'll just wrap it up like that. Good deeds, doing good by people, and not expecting it in return, but still yourself doing good by people. That's how I always try to live. I try to mimic that the best that I can.
And you certainly do with all that you do. And we're going to get to how you serve students here in just a moment. I want to jump into your path to the classroom now, Rae. So you were in California, you were running the streets in Huntsville,
Yes.
you threw out Denver as well. You've been many places. So the path to Chandler, Arizona, the path to the classroom, when did education come into focus?
Education came into focus. So I probably had been flying. I moved here in 2014. I probably had been flying, I don't know, more than 10 years, I think, at that point. And I was getting a little tired of it. Like I was, and I didn't have to fly. Like I don't have to fly. I don't even fly every day. Like I probably fly like 2 times a month, because you can go part-time. So at this point, I'm just like, I'm getting tired. I'm ripping and running to the airport. I'm living in Maricopa, running to the airport, doing daytime trips so I can be home for my son. So I'm back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, I'm getting a little tired of this. So then I started substitute teaching. So I wrote in and turned my transcripts in and got my substitute teacher's license. And so I flew less and started teaching and subbing more, picking up jobs like at my son's middle school and the surrounding Kyrene schools, and just doing that. And it was middle school. And I was like, oh, I really like middle school. Like middle school was my favorite at first, before high school, 8th grade in particular. And I was like, oh, I love middle school. And then I had a youth football league that I was managing, also called SEV, that a lot of kids that in the class of 2024, a lot of them played in the league, and I had known them and their family for a long time. So it was cool to kind of watch them grow up. But all this middle school age and stuff like that, I was like, I really, really like this. I love this. Like I'm thinking like, like, how can I not student teach but get a teaching certificate?
Yes,
Because
get
I
my
don't
own
have time to
classroom
student teach.
and
I don't have time to student teach.
get
And
on
I'm
the
like, how do
roster.
I do
Right?
that? So Arizona had just changed the laws at that point, where you can get an alternative certificate. And so I was like, cool, pull my transcripts. I was like, what do I have a lot of hours in? Like, what do I have a lot of classes in? It was English, because I minored in English. So it was all coming together. I'm
Right.
like, okay, English
Communications,
teacher. Yeah.
journalism, and then
I'm
yeah,
like, English teacher. So I turned all my
perfect.
stuff in. I pay the fee, and they gave me my English teacher certification. Without having to student teach or even go back to school, because I minored it and I had so many English credits on my transcript as it is. And so I was like, okay, now I'm like, okay, I need to be better. Like I get that I had got to skip a little bit of majoring in education. I was like, but I need to be better. So I went and got my master's in English from GCU, because I felt like I needed to come in quality. Like, I missed some things getting a bachelor's in
We followed a
communication.
similar path, the alternative
Yeah.
route. It's a great route,
Yes, it
but
is a great route.
we missed the formal
Yeah.
classroom
All of those
management,
psychology
lesson
classes
planning,
and those things
everything.
where you're learning about the body developing in the brain. Like I didn't get to take those. So I
The
majored in.
frontal lobe. It's a whole.
Yes,
It's a,
exactly. Yes.
it's the whole thing.
It is, yeah. That's all to a child. You know what I mean? Like, so my emphasis though was education. So they were like, my counselor, she's really good. She was like, we can do English because you already have an English background. She was like, but we can do a concentration in education. So you'll get half of this and half of that. Perfect. Gave me all the classes that I needed. All those classes that I was feeling like I needed to come to the table with, gave me all those classes. So at this point now, I'm flying super part-time, substituting a little bit, broke my schedule down a little further. At this point, I bought a house in Maricopa. And so I'm going to school online and taking care of my son and trying to just hammering out my classes, because you can speed it up and get done fast, or you can slow it down and it'll take you longer. But I was like, no, I need to get done. So I'm bamming it out.
You made that clear from jump.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have
I'm
time.
choosing the expedited option.
Yes. And
you
then COVID hit. And I was
wow, you were in the
furloughed.
program during.
Yes, I was furloughed at all the jobs. So I was a cosmetology school educator at Aveda,
Right.
part-time. I was flying a little part-time, and then I was substituting every now and then, and I was completing this master's program all at one time. And then when COVID hit, all my jobs shut down. So schools weren't open, as you know. Schools were, my son, he was in 8th grade. He went home for spring break, and like they never went back to 8th grade. Like he never finished the 8th grade, literally. He never finished. And this is what was going on. So fortunately for me, I sold my house in Maricopa because I wanted to put my son in a different high school, going back to what my dad taught me. You have to put in the situation, you know what I mean? You have to put your child in the best situation. So I'm like, okay, I'm moving. I need to move into East Valley, because this online, this is where the best education is. This is where all the athletic programs are, like, at that point in time. And so I'm making this move in the midst of COVID hits. I still was able to sell my house. So when COVID hit, although I lost all my jobs, I had money because I had to own that home for 9 years. So I had a lot of equity in it. Yeah. So I mean, being blessed, I didn't suffer. You know what I mean? Like it was literally like a vacation with my son.
Wow.
And now I'm like, okay, so I'm not working. Now I'm going to take more master's classes.
I'm gonna double up
faster. Yeah.
I'm even more motivated now.
Yes. Now I'm like, okay, I'm sitting at home. I'm going to take more classes. So I hurried up, got through that, got my master's. I was still able to have a graduation, although all that was happening. GCU still put on a graduation that I was able to participate in that. And then during COVID, let's see, when we were coming out of COVID, Chandler Unified had voted to go back to school in the classroom because the kids were not doing good online. At this point in time, my son was in Tempe Union and he was a freshman, but they were online. His grades were not good. Like he was getting like D's and F's because having to navigate that online platform with no prior knowledge, it was difficult for him. So, we're sitting at home, we're trying to do class and Zoom, and the teachers are trying to do the same thing. Like they didn't know either that they had to do that.
It was
so they're
investment.
trying to get a Google Classroom going. They don't know, like everyone's doing the best they can.
Right.
And so
we didn't even know what Zoom was before. Maybe I'm speaking for myself in the class. Yeah. We had no idea what Zoom was. Like,
right.
Is that
I didn't know what Google Classroom was.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know that you could do that in Google. I didn't know a Google Meet. I didn't know there was a Google
was that?
Meet. Yeah.
And your son Bryce was in 9th grade.
Yes.
At this time, freshman, a pivotal year. Welcome to high school, and
online.
A lot of us did it online, right?
Yeah,
it was challenging.
So when I I was substituting at Castile, and I saw the job post, and I was like, I wonder if they know I have a English certification, because I had my stuff together at that point. I was almost done with my master's. It's at the very tail end of it. And I was like, I wonder if they know that I have this. And I went and I talked to an administrator, and I was like, I have an English teacher certification. She was like, oh my God. She was like, oh my gosh. She was so happy. Just put me right in there.
Can we hire you today?
Yep. Put me right in there like clockwork.
Just like that.
Interviewed. Yep. And I went into the classroom that I was subbing in and out of. So I already had my students. It was 10th grade English. And I had already had kind of like my students, I was getting to know them. Little did I know they would permanently be mine all through COVID. And so since Chandler was in school and my son was suffering, I moved him over to Castile. I transferred him second semester, freshman year. And he had been there ever since. He stayed there no matter where I might have been teaching at. Castile had excellent teachers, excellent athletics programs. He was happy. he was making friends, he was learning things, he was lifting weights, he was eating good. Like it just all had came together. And because still teaching 10th grade, that's when I fell in love with high school. In 10th grade in particular, I still teach 10th grade. And at that point, Chandler was doing block, and block was very long classes.
Right.
Like it was like
we had that at Cactus,
boring.
90 minutes.
Boring. It was boring. It was like, and so I was like, well, we're going to have recess every day. When we get done with our work, we're going to have recess. So I had all this athletic equipment from playing with my son. And so I had brought all soccer balls and all kind of stuff up to the school and had it in my classroom. And literally that was the motivation. Like, okay, let's do our lesson. This is our lesson for today. We're learning how to use semicolons, or we're practicing make a thesis statement, or, something like that. And in order to go outside, because our block day was so long, in order to go outside, we had to get all of our work done. They couldn't wait. They blasted through that work.
I bet they did. I see that soccer ball. I want to.
Yeah, blasting through that work.
So you had that idea. Did you consult admin at that time? I think as new teachers, sometimes we worry about, okay, I don't want to mess up.
No, I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried.
I love that.
Yeah, because they were just like, do what you can. Like, they were so like open to catering to the kids, because they were going through a lot. Like we were having lots of things on the news, of kids suffering in mental health. And, that little bit of recess, that's a mental health break. And it's fun. Like larger kids are just little kids in a bigger kid body. Right.
It's so true.
Yeah. So they're like, recess. Yeah. And I called it recess too. I called it recess.
Oh, did you really? Like you had it on the agenda and everything.
Yeah. Recess.
Oh my goodness.
So that's how we got through COVID. And I spent so much time with them that's what pole vaulted into my girls flag team, was my girls in my classroom. A lot of them came out when we started the program. And I knew them so well. I spent every day 2 hours a day with them. Like I knew everything about them. They knew so many things about me. I would talk about business and being a flight attendant. Like I let them see that I was a person. You know what I mean? And
it's important as a teacher.
Yeah. Like I'm in it with you. We're all in COVID together. Right. We're all in here for 2 hours a day together. Right. And from that's what helped build the first girls flag team, was that relationship.
Tell us more about that. That's a great lead into girls flag football. In case folks aren't familiar, nationwide certainly, and especially in Arizona, I know how committed you are to the sport, Rae. Yes. It has grown exponentially over the last few years, where finally young women, girls are able to participate in this case in football and flag football, and receive the acclaim, the shine, the competition that their counterparts have had for years and years. So how has it been really being in the thick of this movement? And like you said, ushering in a new generation of student athletes who have been just yearning for the chance to show how talented they are.
When I was asked by the Castile athletic director, when he presented this, I was like, oh, put my name down. Because I played at Oakwood. I played at my college. We had a young women's league in Huntsville that we played other schools. So I was like, oh, I know I could do this. I was like, this is what we need. In football, with a son that plays, I know what football gives a young person. And with the proper surrounding and the good coaching, the quality coaching, I know what it can give to a young man. And the same thing it gives to a young man, it gives to a young woman: discipline, teamwork, learning how to manage your schedule, commitment, leaning on others, having others lean on you, handling that pressure. Quarterback, the pressure that a quarterback goes through, you ride the wave. Like you're mentally, they love you when you throw a good ball. They're mad at you when you don't, when you fumble. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is what the quarterback does the whole game, men and women, the whole game. You know what I mean? So all of that builds character and it builds confidence, which is what young women need. We need to help build character. We need more confidence. We need to be able to rise to the occasion and tackle a challenge. And all those things girls flag gives to young women. And it's perfect. Like it's something that I wish that when I was in high school at Clovis High, I wish I could have played on the girls flag team.
Exactly.
Like I wish I could have done that. So my whole motivation is giving them something that I didn't get, that I have a full platform to elevate them, to promote them, to put them out there, to teach them skills and drills. And you started off with just the 6 schools in Chandler Unified playing each other. That's how we started the first year in 2021. It was just, our district AD, super supportive. All of the ADs in Chandler Unified, supportive, backed it all up. We coached it for free. Jeremy Beeman and we coached it. There was no stipend. It was all out of
just
love.
out of love for
Yeah,
the kids in the game.
all out of love, and for me, all about it, trying to give a young woman an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like that was my thing. Like whatever, if it's free, then it's free. If I have to do it for free, I have to do it for free. But I was determined to give that opportunity.
Wow.
And so it started out with the 6 schools. Then the next year it was 32 schools. The next spring. So it's spring.
It's a big jump.
6, yep. The next spring is 32. Then AIA, boom, we're going to vote it in. It grew so fast. We're going to skip the emerging sport stage, and we're just going to make it a sport. We're just going to make it a theme. We're going to give it to all of Arizona.
And listen, Rae, we know being in education and living in Arizona, literally nothing happens this quickly.
Right.
Not road construction, not anything in a district or at a school. Yeah. This happened so fast. Do you attribute that to just how much momentum and good vibes there were? People could see the impact this was having on young women, particularly following COVID.
Mm-hmm. And the best part is the culture of the coaches. Like we still all have that we're on the same page, like type of supportive culture, not against each other, win or lose. Even when I lose to your team or you lose to my team, we're still friends at the end of the game. This is what we try to instill in the girls, because I don't want it muddy in petty, you know what I mean, or selfish. Like we can't grow the sport with those things in the background, with our girls acting like that, or as coaches, us acting like that. We can't grow the sport. We still don't even have our footing. Like we're still trying to get our feet on the ground. And so in order to not taint it, we just really stick together a lot. And when they flipped it from spring to fall, that gave it a football, now it's football season. You know what I mean? Like now it's football season. You know what I mean? Like NFL and boys tackle. So then it gets grouped into, now it's football season for us too, exactly, which gave it more of a elevated platform. So now you have NFL teams completely supporting girls flag in their state and giving them uniforms, giving them equipment, training them, coaching them, teaching them, coaches coming out of the woodwork wanting to do it, dedicating themselves to it. So it really grew so fast. But when things happen like that, sometimes it's almost like a dream. It's like I have to open my eyes and I'm like, no, this is my life. like I do this.
Yes, you
do.
I
do this every day, and I get paid,
and
to do this.
You get paid now. Yes. So along with that, that's fantastic. I can see how much joy it brings you. So along with teaching, with coaching, in terms of doing things, you also advise your school's Black Student Union.
Yes.
Tell us about that process, because the East Valley, and you let me know, you're much more well acquainted with East Valley than I am, not necessarily a huge Black population. I worked at Marana High School in Southern Arizona, also not known for a bustling Black community or Black culture there, but we are there, we exist.
Yeah.
We started a Black Student Union on our campus. I want to know the process of getting that started at Castile. What is it like to be the BSU advisor?
So Castile is a fairly new school. And when I got hired there, I had asked the principal, just looking around, getting acquainted and seeing what is going on. I had asked the principal, I was like, does Castile have a Black Student Union? And he was like, no, but I really want one. He was like 100%. He saw it was important to have all types of clubs, not just the Black Student Union, but all various types of clubs. And the Black Student Union just wasn't one that had a sponsor, because you have to have a teacher to sponsor the club, to run the club.
We know how that goes. It's no
Yes.
surprise why there are
Yeah.
Black students, but are there Black teachers at the
Right.
school?
And even if
Sometimes
not
not.
a Black teacher, because not all the BSU advisors are Black. Some of
Right.
them are just teachers that are like, okay, let me help these students. They came and asked me, I'm going to do it.
100%.
Whatever. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Right?
We
Yeah.
we know it hits
Yes.
different though if kids can see
Yeah.
someone
It
that
is.
looks like them, right?
It is different. And in my Black Student Union at Clovis High, with my school being predominantly white, our Black Student Union was lit up. Over 100 plus students.
Over 100.
Yes, over 100 plus.
Clovis High.
So, yes, our Black Student Union was everything. I mean, like I just didn't like when Castile didn't have one. I was like, they're missing out. You know what I mean? Like, this is so much fun, to learn and come together and do presentations or do community service and just get to know each other in general. Just make the friendship part. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's about. And it was welcomed in. I filled out the paperwork. I had the students have to leave the club, as you know. The students have to ask. So one day I'm sitting in my room and all these football players come in. And they're like, Miss Black, at this point, they're like, hey, we have a Black teacher. Like, so they're all kind of coming in like, who is this lady? And this young lady with all this energy. And you know what I mean? And we heard about her. And so they're coming in. They're like, okay, Miss Black, we want to start a Black Student Union. I'm like, done. Let's do it. Let's get the paperwork. And then from that point on, filled it out. The district put it through. In a matter of probably like 4 days, it was approved. It was officially a club. Officially. We turned it around, got the officers put into place, had planned our first event. Like, what do we want to stand for? And what do we want to do? Because when you have a Black Student Union, there's a little stereotype that follows that. The stereotype is that only Black students can join. That's not true. It's not true. Anybody can join. It's a club. It's a school's club. So anyone at the school, you can join if you would like to be a part of this culture, if you would like to learn more, join. And our Black Student Union was very diverse because the football players, African American, they have a lot of friends. And so they're having fun, and their friends are like, well, I want to have fun. Well, they're like, well, then join the Black Student Union.
Yeah.
So they're all joining.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun to see that the brotherhood, the sisterhood, but not the small part, the more inclusive part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the everyone. Yeah, we're Black and we're proud. We want to be in the Black Student Union. Yes, but you're welcome to come be in the Black Student Union with us and come have a good time with us and learn about Black culture and do these fun activities with us. And I'm a young mom. Like, I'm only, I'm 43, and I don't have any problem. We can go wherever they want to go. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want to do? I'll plan it.
Right.
And that's just that's the type of sponsor I am. That's the type of mom I am. Bryce's friends always over here, pool party, whatever they want to do, just making it fun and making those memories. So we got very active really quick. From that point, I wanted to know who else had a Black Student Union in CUSD and who else had one in the Valley. Because now I'm like, okay, we got a little burn going. Who's over at Basha? Who's at Chandler? Like, who's at ACP? And some didn't have one, but then soon acquired one. Like, once they heard we're getting active, everyone's like, okay, I'm here. I'm over here. I'm over here. I'm over here. So then we all connect. And then we start doing things as a district. So every year we do things as a district. We do small things individually, like on campus.
Yeah,
but we do things like everybody go to Top Golf and reserve the spot. Everyone go bowling. Everyone go skating. Skate night, 90s theme. Make sure
skate night, 90s theme.
Yeah, 90s theme, skate night, and stuff like that. Wow. So we have always something going together.
And the kids from each school can interact with each other. Mm-hmm. Hamilton can hang out with Castile. Yes. Chandler can hang out with ACP. Yep. Bash is there.
Christmas party, joint Christmas party. Dance party even. Like, how the kids are. There's a dance for every song and a TikTok or whatever. And,
Did you organize the playlist? Do they got Miss Black on the ones and twos?
Keep it clean.
Edited versions only.
Playlist. But yes, we let them have a good time. I mean, it's their life. You know what I mean? It's their life. I'm not gonna be too strict. You know what I mean? Like, because I could be like that, but there's points in time where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let you live your life. I want you to live your life.
That's a great transition for us, Rae. So we know that Black educators are 4% of Arizona's teacher workforce. How has the process been as it relates to finding community for you in the classroom in the East Valley? You've been putting in work for your students, for your son, who since graduated, again, shout out to Bryce, to find that community. What about for you on the staff side of things? You've been able to connect with folks in the district. Was that process fairly seamless, or did it take some time for you to find community?
One thing that I've learned, especially about myself, being from California, is we don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so mixed in. Like, when you grow up like that, it's just like it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm a bring my loving heart to the table, and you either you like that about me or you don't like it, or or however you want to do it, however you want to do it. But when you grow up in California, everything is everything. Like, literally everything. Like, there is everything in California, and so that's what I grew up seeing and knowing and understanding. So when I go to a school like Castile that has a smaller percent of Black population, I don't feel anything. And you know what I mean? Like, if you make a choice to have a problem with me, I don't have a problem with you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem. Or now I coach at Castile, but I work at Chandler High School. Chandler High is pretty much, I think it's like 62% Hispanic. Very different. And all of Chandler Unified District schools are all very different. They're all their own personality. You go here and you see this. You go here and you see this. You go here and you see this. And together, it makes the district very diverse because there's something of all kind of different things, depending on what school you're at, what neighborhood the school is in. And so Chandler, the minority is the white students. The majority are the Black and brown students. And then we have other students too, Asian American and different Pacific Islander. They say Ohana, the football team. They do a chant. Even like I remember what it's called, but like, and that's another culture. You know what I mean? And that's how it is. And Chandler is a very good fit for me because of the diversity. Because I love things like that. Like, I love diversity. I'm always trying to create diversity and trying to give the kids different perspective and to still be proud. Like, I am proud of my culture and myself, but still have an open heart, open mind, love others, accept others, because you want people to accept you. We don't want to be stereotyped. So we don't want to stereotype them. Like, if that's how, you know what I mean? Like, if we're going to get upset because someone's stereotyping us, then we don't want to stereotype them. And that's what I try to teach the kids. It's all equal. It's all equal treatment.
These are the important life skills and life lessons
Yes.
that I think it's more critical now than ever, right? That we work with students on this, because they can go on social media. I know I want to sound like a total old head, but they can go on social media or follow politics, and it can sometimes be a very much us versus them. And like you said, stereotypes, other problematic images and videos, when if we can create that sense of unity and that sense of just loving each other, right? And like you said, kind of yearning for the opportunity to learn about someone else's culture and who they are, what makes them them. Right, because when they graduate, they may go out in the world and just not experience that, right? But in school, I think it's critical that, we're going to focus on our lesson, our objectives, and get you ready for state exams because we have to. But also, it sounds like in your philosophy of teaching, how we treat each other is paramount.
Yes. And in the discipline part as a teacher, that's all up to us. Like, I don't have to call security every time my kids do something. Like, I can manage my own classroom and I can manage my own kids. And so I don't have to potentially get you suspended for something that I want you to do different. Like, I can discipline you in my room and make you write me a paper about why you did that. and how you're going to do
Classroom
different.
management.
Yes.
I'm
And how
so
you're
glad
going
you
to
brought
do
this up. I
different.
wanted to hear your
Yes.
thoughts on how do you approach
Yeah. What are you going
management.
to do next time that she gets upset and she says something that you don't like? What are you going to do next time instead of throwing all her papers on the ground? Because my students, some of them, they are very strong-willed, very strong personality.
I'm sure.
Like very strong. Some of them, quick little temple. They're so
Yeah.
young with this big temper or
16
big
going on
personality.
30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're trying to find themselves and they're growing. They're not little kid anymore in the 10th grade. Like you're becoming a young woman and a young man in the 10th grade. So now I'm going to have to treat you like that. And you need to manage yourself like that. So we talk a lot. Like I don't automatically send them to the office. We're in the hallway discussing what was your thought at that moment that you did that. What were you thinking that you did that? Because I'm interested. I'm interested in knowing, I'm going to correct you, but I'm interested in knowing what prompted that. And, they go, well, I don't know. No, something, there was something there, a feeling, an emotion. And you'd be surprised. Like sometimes the things that they tell me, like the answer, and I'm like,
I would imagine.
okay.
They probably haven't been asked that before. Typically, like you said, it's
Yeah.
go to the office or,
Yes.
then you
Go to
get
the office or put
ISS
you out of
or,
school. Yeah, something like that.
right,
And
right.
the honesty,
You want to
the
handle it
answers,
in-house.
and you win points for being honest with me as your teacher. Like I want that because in life I want you to be an honest person, period. So I don't want you to don't try to lie your way out of stuff. You have to take ownership and be accountable for the things that you've done and just don't do it anymore. Like it's that
Right.
simple. Don't
Right.
ever do that again. Okay?
Right.
Done. Write me that paper
Period.
due tomorrow. Thank you. Like
Period. When I've had student misbehavior, I love your approach, number one, and I also think back. I haven't always done this, but now I have reached a stage where I want to think about my lesson, and was my lesson just average or not very good, and then that led to this student being off task. It's not always a 100% accuracy, but sometimes
Yeah,
the lesson could have been better. I could have done more to engage them. So
engage. Yeah.
I'm curious, Ray, because we know with English, it's the greatest subject that a student can take, right? You and I know that, and so do our listeners and viewers. But B, a lot of students enter English class with baggage, kind of similar to math, I would say.
They do. Yeah.
Categorically different content, but
Mhm.
similar in that students tend to have big feelings. I
Mhm.
either like English is my jam, math is my jam, or we flip it, right? And students come in thinking, I'm not good at English, I don't like it, so on and so forth. So what's your
They do.
approach? What's your approach to teaching English, either philosophically or do you have favorite projects, texts?
I do. We do a lot of projects in a group. Number one. So you may not write the whole paper. You might just write the conclusion paragraph and you have to go back to what your partners wrote previously and analyze their text in order to write a strong conclusion. So then it's not all the pressure on you. It's you took this piece of pressure, you took this piece of pressure, you took this piece of pressure, right? But not only that, the only reason why and I'll talk about my school in particular, is the only reason why they come in and they'll say, "Oh, I don't like it," is because you don't know how to do it. It's not that you don't like it. You're deflecting. You're saying that you don't want me to ask you a question. So you're going to just act like you don't like it and you don't like my class because you're afraid that when I asked you the question to finish this or correct the punctuation in this sentence, you don't really know how to do it. And you don't want to be embarrassed. You're so cool. They're so cool. You too cool. you know, like you don't want to, so
Especially our young men.
yeah,
Yes.
you don't want that light on you. You don't want
Right.
that light on you.
Right.
So we do a lot of things together. In my school, I have students that don't speak English that well in some of my classes, and I don't have a co-teacher or things all the time like that. Sometimes it's on me to still get the job done, whether I have someone in there helping me or not. I still need to get the job done. So if I have to make a small different lesson plan like this over here and have these kids sitting right by my desk so I can work with them, and then across there, the more fast-paced table, I know once I give the 1-2 instruction, they'll just run with it. And then I have everyone else that's kind of mixed in the middle all over here. And I know I have to get up and check on them, but not as much as I have to check on them right here. Like I need to be right here the majority of the time. And then once you learn your students and you're able to group them without them feeling like you're pulling them away because maybe they're not smart, because kids are very sensitive. Like, why was she making me sit over here? You know
Right.
what I mean?
And
Is
then
this
my
a
classmates can
table?
see that I'm being
Yeah,
othered,
right. So
right? They
you,
pick up on all that.
they do, and you get to know them and you learn them and you build the relationship. So when I do pull all of you apart, you don't feel like Miss Black is doing that because something malicious. She's doing that because, and I often say, I just want you to come sit by me. Why I gotta sit over here? Because I want to talk to you. I can't want to talk to you in class today? Like I just spin it, spin it around.
Spin. Right.
Yeah, because I want you to
You
sit
know
there.
what you're
I
doing.
want to
Yeah, you
talk to
got a
you.
plan. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you just maneuver,
Yeah.
just maneuver it, and keep it fun and keep it loving. And they don't see, they don't get that feeling of that you're separating me, or you're calling me out. They feel more like, okay, well, she wants to help me. She just told me, why do I want you to sit by me? Because I want to help you. I want you to get an A on the paper. The only way I know I can ensure you're doing it right is if I'm looking at it as you're going along. That's why I want you to sit by me. And then don't you
Logical.
want to get an A? I mean, at the end of the day, they do want to get an A. They do. No one's going to say, no, I want to get an F.
No.
They're not going to say that.
No. And they
They're
want
not.
to make their student, I'm sorry, they want to make their teachers proud as
Yes.
well. They may
Yes.
not always want to confess that,
Yeah.
but they want to make
But
they
they
want to
do.
make you happy and they want
They
you to be
do.
proud of them.
Yes. So that's
100%.
that's that's how I maneuver.
Wow.
Like I play around a lot. Like I just let them, like I said, I'm not the hammer on the discipline. They have to be able to live and breathe. You know what I mean? Like without feeling like if I do one thing, you know what I mean? Security, you know what I mean? Like they have to be able to be comfortable. They have to live life. If they, and when they do stuff that I don't like, I get on them. I clown them. Like, why did you do that? When you know.
Tell me about your reasoning. Going back
No,
to your
yes.
example, the conversation.
Yes. Like,
Yes.
what do you think I'm going to
Wow.
say right now? Like, sometimes I ask them that. They do something. What do you
That's a
think
good
I'm going to
one.
say to you right now, knowing that you just did that?
Look at that free game
Yes.
from Miss
And
Black. I hope
yes,
everyone is
and they say all kind
consuming
of,
this.
you're gonna tell me that in life you have to make the choice to like they know.
They do the impression.
Yes, they know. Yeah, they copy me. They know.
Oh my goodness. Ray, this has been amazing. I want to move on to our last part of our conversation, the exit ticket. It is the year of Rae Black, of course. It's also the year of Usher Raymond the fourth. I just saw his BET celebration actually just yesterday as we record this.
Mhm.
So here is my exit ticket for you. You can only choose one. You remind me, you don't have to call, or you got it bad. Which Usher classic are you choosing to keep?
Um, I would say you don't have to call.
Ooh.
I would say you don't have to call.
Really? That's a good, and all of them have their different vibes, right?
Mhm.
I agree
Mhm.
with you though. You don't have to call. That's a good answer. That's the one
Yeah.
I would choose. I have so much nostalgia for that song, for that music video. It's just one of those where you play it and you can't help but feel good.
Yeah.
Good answer. You got it bad is great too, but that puts me in my
Yeah. The you don't
feelings.
have to call. It's like, I
It's
mean, you
like
don't. I would like for you to call. You know what I mean? I would like for you to, but you don't have to call. You don't have to call. It's okay. It's
it's
okay.
okay. I got you. I
It's
got you.
okay.
You can text me. Man, this has been an absolutely beautiful situation, Ray. Thank you so much for joining us. My final question for you, I promise. What are the best ways to connect with you?
You can connect with me. I have I like social media. Like I use it to my professional advantage, but I am on there a lot. You can contact me on my social media. My email is public. My teacher email is public, black.ray@cusd80.com. for teacher connections. I like to connect with other BSU's West Valley. So I'll just put that out there. Also, like, if there's a teacher watching and they want to start a BSU, email me. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it going. Let's network. Let's have the kids meet each other. I'm all about them building community and learning how to be supportive of each other. Like, we have to try to change the narrative, from a negative to a positive. We have to keep trying to instill into the kids, like, I know what you might want to do, but is it appropriate? Is it appropriate? You know what I mean? Like, is it going to help you get that job? Could you say that to your manager? Like, is that something that you can say to your manager? Can you what's up your manager? Then don't what's up me when you walk in class. Like, you know what I mean? Like, small wins.
Come on now.
Small wins.
Small wins. You got
Yes.
to celebrate them. Well, you heard it here first. Connect with Rae. You can also connect with us at Fort AZ Teach. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.